said, it's like my mother would say, bite the bullet. If you're sick, I promise you, if you will follow this, you will feel so much better so quickly that you will know that you are absolutely on the right track. And when you go in to see your doctor for whatever degenerative illness you're dealing with, and your doctor even makes a comment about, what are you doing? You can tell them you're doing this, and they'll probably more than likely say, well, that's great. You just keep doing what you're doing. They're really not going to want a list of it because, I'm sorry, the food pyramid, no. The food pyramid, it's wrong. I'm sorry. It's wrong. I've been in this field 37 years. I started with nutrition. No. All these grains, I don't care if they're saying now that only 1% of the people have a gluten intolerance. I'm sorry. It's incorrect. We need to understand here and realize that there is no money in healthy people. There's no money. If you're not sick, you're not spending money on health care. So there is no money in healthy people. And I had a really hard time early on wrapping my brain around this because I come from a very heavily medically steeped family, and there's really some awesome people that that are in the medical field and have been in the medical field. And what they're doing, a few of them have been really, really amazing, to where their procedures are taught in medical school. And, one traveling around the world teaching a procedure. So there is a time and a place for medicine, and the two surgeons that I'm talking about right now, if you needed those two surgeons, by the time you needed what they had and were able to provide for you, you didn't want an herbalist. It's just like if you break your leg, you don't want an herbalist. You need a doctor to set that bone. But then you want your herbs in order to heal that bone in record time. And I personally broke a few toes and the outer part of my foot. And I come in here hobbling last Monday, and my foot was all black and blue underneath and along the side. And I'm telling you, it hurt all the way up to my thigh. And Rick here, who gave me this opportunity to be able to share my knowledge with everyone, he gave me a couple of effervescent tablets that he makes. And I'm telling you, I went home and I soaked my foot in that, and I even saved that soak and soaked it a second time in the same one, and then used that other one. But I'm going to tell you, that first soak, within 15 minutes, I was able to start moving my toes. And by the time, after a half an hour, I took my foot out of there, more than half of the black and blue markings were gone.
Wow.
And the swelling, it was incredible how much the swelling was gone. And I was able to walk, much better, even though, I really couldn't bend my toes and stuff. I had to be careful of that outer part of my foot. But thank you so much, Rick. I mean, for as bad as I broke that, here we are 1 week later, and with the soaks, and then my friend who I call Dr. X, some of his ointments, and herbs internally, and continuing with my juicing and everything, I'm doing pretty good for 1 week later, where your average person
is still hobbling
would
really
be
badly.
still hobbling and hurting and yeah.
That's wonderful to hear. I mean, that really made my night when you called and told me that, because I knew they were good. You know what I mean? That was one of my earlier products, and you didn't get high off of it in any way.
No.
Because it is infused with cannabis. But you would have never known by looking at it. And
I didn't have any... No, I didn't have any kind of feelings like that. I mean, what was amazing was how quickly that took care of the bruising and the swelling and the inflammation. The inflammation part of it. It pulled that pain out of it, and it's really been something that, Yeah, there's a little bit of bruising on all the toes that's left, but not very much.
But that's to be expected when you break a bone. You know what I mean? You've traumatized that area.
Oh, yeah.
Know? So, I mean...
So the inflammation and the pain from that was taken out immediately. Within, like I said, within 15 minutes, I could move my toes.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I love that. That's very cool. I mean, because honestly, it's, when you guys, if you were to look at it, it's a great little thing, especially I call it a hand and foot soak. So, I mean...
yeah, you break any fingers,
well, I tell you, I've seen people with hardcore rheumatoid arthritis that just haven't been able to move their fingers in months and months. Do one soak and can actually start.
I believe it. I absolutely believe it. I absolutely believe it because I know that I could not move those toes, and within 15 minutes, I was able to bend them.
Wow!
Without pain.
Wow! And that's amazing right there to me because I knew it would work. It would help, but I didn't know it would help that much for a broken bone because I mean that's kind of serious, I mean. So to hear that, man, that really can I make a plug real quick where people can find that at?
Sure.
All right. If you go to Facebook, you can go to facebook.com/moth.denver. And, shoot me a message through there, and you can scroll down all the way through, and you'll find the hand and foot soaks on there, and then you'll find a description and what it does, and, like you said, because the essential oils that I use in there, they are anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, antiseptic, so it's... I love the oils.
Yes.
Love oils.
I love the essential oils, and they're biblical. I mean, they date back to biblical days.
Yes, and honestly.
Yep, there you go. And healing oils from the Bible. There's so much.
With me all the time.
Yeah, there is so much that we were given in the Bible and told. There's over 220 references to herbs and oils in the Bible.
Oh, yeah.
So, and it is, everything we have came from the hand of God. And it's good. Everything is good. Everything is good. Right on.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. It made my week much easier to deal with, that is for sure. And, it's really unfortunate that there is so much toxification of our food in the United States. And there's a reason why a lot of other countries do not want things from the United States. We have things that are allowed in our foods and cosmetics that are not allowed. They are banned in other countries, and they do worry about the food chain. They don't want them in their landfills because it does affect the earth. So, this industry of synthetic vitamins, they think that they can turn around and adulterate our food and then turn around and enrich it with synthetic vitamins. It's kind of like they strip all of the outer grain from the wheat. They strip all of the B complex and the vital nutrients from the grain, and then they turn around and they enrich it with synthetic vitamins. And I'm going to tell you, the difference between a synthetic vitamin and a natural biochemical vitamin that was derived from food or plant source, they all have an energy. At least that comes from food and the herbs. Those have an energy field. Everything has an energy field. The synthetic vitamins, if you look at them under a microscope, they have no energy field. There's nothing. They're dead. They actually will cause the problem that you're taking the specific nutrient for to correct when it's synthetic. When you look at a plant-derived nutrient under the microscope, it has an energy field. There's green, there's blue, there's purple, there's yellow. there's red that emits. It emits from around that nutrient. It's alive. It is alive. It has nutrition. It's that energy field that will deliver the nutrient and the energy to the body. So there is a difference. And I am real sorry to tell you that there is no money in healthy people. And this is why still today, a lot of this information is really poo-pooed by the medical field. And there is some things that are starting to come around. We've got a few doctors that are on television, and they kind of want to, it seems as though they act like this is all newfound information. This is not newfound information. This information has been around for decades. It is now something where there are some doctors who are, who are seeing that herbs and nutrition, that there is, there is truth to this. And unfortunately, we still have a majority consensus that they do not work. And back to that, to the food pyramid. All those grains, all those cereals, no, you do not want them in your body. And what is being done with the GMO, genetically altered, Roundup, chemical ready, toxins that are actually inherent now into these plants, they are altering our DNA. They are changing it. And this is something that the countries who have banned GMO foods, it is these countries who have done all of the research on this and are really letting the cat out of the bag on what it is doing to our genetic, our DNA and our RNA in the body. So I want to, I covered let's see here. I do want to go through a little more on these irradiated foods. There are some tests that were done here that, a lot of people have difficulty digesting their food, and irradiation generally reduces the digestibility of food even more. There are even more severe and grave health problems associated with irradiated food. Rats fed irradiated pork showed an increased enzymatic activity in liver tissue. Dogs fed such food showed spleen enlargement and congestion. When malnourished children in India were fed freshly irradiated wheat, their white blood cells began to become leukemic. They were showing the beginning signs of leukemia. The same thing happened to monkeys and mice that were fed on wheat. Mice fed irradiated chicken demonstrated an increase in testicular tumors, immune kidney disease, lowered survival rates, their offspring death, and other distressing results. 2 studies showed kidney and testicle cancer and damage in rats fed irradiated food. Canadian studies showed that animals who ingested irradiated food developed an extra set of chromosomes. A Cornell University study found that eating irradiated sugar produced the same genetic changes as exposure to irradiation itself. So I want to give you kind of a list here. There are herbs and spices that are irradiated, and the processing and combined with non-irradiated foods, and they mix them all together and make it all toxic. And the other thing is they don't require labeling in the United States. So, we've got this bit
or outcry pouring about labeling a GMO